What's up guys, thank you so much for clicking on today's video. It means more than you can possibly imagine. But before we get started, we'd like to apologize for being away this past month. Truly, we are sorry. But don't worry, we're back like we never left. With that out of the way, today me and Jay are showing you one of the best fire-based builds in Elden Ring, the Godslayer Greatsword build. This build revolves completely around the Godslayer Ash of War called the Queen of Black Flame. Just by the name you can tell it's overpowered. The sword's AoE and just sheer damage are pretty amazing just by itself, but on top of that, it's a black flame weapon, meaning it has damage over time effect. I know what you're all thinking, Jackson, Jay, this build sounds amazing, how can we make it any better? Well, everyone that I'm 100% sure was asking that question, I'll tell you how. With these talismans and buffs, you'll see for yourself this build is quite literally unstoppable. Keep in mind, all these clips are from New Game Plus 5, so using on first playthrough will do even more damage. Before we get any further, we'd like to ask that you like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications. That way you'll be notified whenever we drop all our Elden Ring content. Now without further ado, let's get into the talismans, starting off with the Radagon sources.
To get this, go to the gray shown on the map and then enter Fort Faroth. From there, follow the path shown in the video until you get to the talisman. Radagon Sword Shield raises Vigor, Endurance, Strength, and Dexterity by 5 each, but at the same time, it increases damage taken by 15%. This talisman isn't a major part of the build and it can be interchanged with another talisman if you would like, but we used it regardless.
The next talisman you'll need is a Fire Scorpion Charm. This will be in the location shown on the map inside of the fort. Once there, traverse the castle until you get to the top where you'll have to do some very easy parkour. After that, follow the clip and you'll eventually find the talisman. This talisman increases fire damage by 12%, but increases physical damage taken by 10, a much needed buff, but at a price. The next talisman is the Shard of Alexander. This will be at the location shown on the map. Once there, walk up to Alexander and clear his dialogue. Once done, he will ask you to fight him. Once beaten, he will drop the Shard of Alexander. This talisman greatly boosts the attack power of skills by 15%, which is a necessity for this build.
The next talisman is the Ritual Sword Talisman. To get this, you need to go to the place shown on the map in Altus Plateau. Once there, follow the path shown in the video where you'll be led to a boss fight in an underground bunker. This boss fight is the easiest boss shown in the video, so you shouldn't struggle. After you beat him, walk through the doorway behind him and open the chest. Inside the chest will be the Ritual Sword Talisman, which raises attack power by 10% when at max health. This is a big reason why we were able to do so much damage with the one single attack.
Now let's get into the wondrous physic. The first one being the Strength Knot tier. Go to the location shown in the clip and follow the path up the hill. Once there, sitting inside a bowl on the ground will be the Strength Knot tier. This temporarily boosts strength attribute by 10 for 3 minutes, which isn't 100% needed, but still a nice little buff.
Next, we have to get the Flame Shroud and Crack tier. To get this, head over to the place shown on the map where you'll be greeted by a boss fight. This boss is in Caelid, so of course it's difficult, but once it's beaten, you will get the Flame Shroud and Crack tier. This temporarily boosts fire attacks by 20% for 3 minutes, and it stacks with a Fire Scorpion Charm, making it a total boost of 32%. In all, this is a necessity for the build.
Now that we're done with the talisman and buffs, let's move on to the stat layout and build overview. First, we obviously have the Godslayer Greatsword, which is the main weapon for this build, which does insane fire and physical damage. After that, we have the Claw Mark Seal for casting incantations like Frame Grant Me Strength and Golden Vow. Next, we have our armor set, which could really be anything, but I chose this just because it looked good. After that, we have the 4 talismans we went over earlier, those being Shard of Alexander, Ritual Sword Talisman, Radagon Sword Seal, and the Fire Scorpion Charm. Finally, we have the Flame Shroud and Crack tier and the Strength Knot tier, but the Strength tier isn't really that important and can be interchanged with another tier if you see fit. Now for the stat overview, you're going to have at least 20 strength, 22 dex, and 20 faith to even wield the weapon. Next, you're going to want your mind somewhere around 20 to 25 because our Ash of War takes a lot of FP. After that, you're going to want at least 40 vigor, and what's left can go into dexterity, faith, strength, and endurance. Keep in mind, some of this is interchangeable. If you see something better fit for the build, it's fine, just go ahead and change it. Anyways, let's move on to the PvE aspect of things.
I honestly don't know what all to say for the PvE side of this weapon. I mean, simply put, it's just overpowered. It does insane fire and black flame damage with one single use of the Ash of War. On top of that, it also has a large area of effect, which leads to most attacks landing. I mean, just look at what I'm doing to New Game Plus 7 Godric in the clip below. The only downside to this weapon is its long cast time and FP consumption, which really isn't that bad of a trade-off considering the amount of damage you do.
Now let's talk about the PvP side of this build. We tested this out by 1v1ing each other, Jay using the Greatsword while I used the Blasphemous Blade. This could be a matter of skill gap, but to put it simply, he destroyed me every time. There was really nothing I could do as I was being one hit every single time. On top of that, the one-hit move is almost impossible to escape from due to its area of effect. I mean, look at the clips, I barely even put up a fight. Like PvE, however, the only downsides are the casting time and the unpredictability of the opponent. It's safe to say that this build is both broken in PvE and PvP. That's going to be all for today's video. Thank you all so much for watching. We hope we helped you find your next Elden Ring build. If you made it this far, we recommend checking out our other videos showcasing Elden Ring's most overpowered build in our attempt at beating Elden Ring as Fire and Ice. All that we ask now is that you like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. That way you'll be notified for all our Elden Ring content. With all that being said, we are happy to be back, and once again, thank you for staying to the end. See you in the next one.